I'm trying to work out what date it is.
13.
There you go. Thank you
I'm
very
lucky
much.
for something.
Yeah, May the 13th, guys. Tuesday. 9 days and counting, or is it 8? 8 days now until our biggest our biggest game of the season. Obviously, you know that we lost at the weekend, and the spin merchants are out. So we're going to be talking a few ins and outs, transfers, and all of the other bits and pieces. That yeah, look, we'll get into it. Bath time. How are you, man?
I'm really, really good. I was absolutely delighted to send you a message at 6 o'clock saying I'm not doing anything because I'm sitting in my garden. And then I punched a wasp. No, I punched a bee, stung a butterfly. But yeah, bee came towards me, just punched it. Amazing. Never done that before. And then I heard Yabba come in talking about what a hard day he's had whilst I've just been mincing about in the garden. Brilliant.
You need best to do it chopsticks, don't you? That's when you're a real Don Gargan.
Can you use chopsticks?
Kid?
Yeah, we would kill a fly with chopsticks if that's.
Can you use chopsticks?
I can't. I've tried before. I remember I was in a restaurant and they gave me chopsticks, and just for fun because you do it with one hand, don't they? And it's like there's a way of doing it, but I'm sure I could master it if I tried it more often. But yeah, it's usually for noodles. I think. What about rice? What if you're eating sort of grains of rice or something like that? That would be hard.
Yeah, but you don't eat one grain though, do you?
I suppose but then rice seems to be sort of packed together in a bunch.
I'm not very good with chopsticks. I've got to be honest.
Anybody in the chat can use chopsticks? I don't. There's anybody
try
in the chat
chopsticks. It's just like the thing is that I think that a knife and fork is almost perfect for like any eating job. It's a lot better than like using chopsticks or something. So it's like asking me to take a horse instead of an Uber. Like, you know, it's kind of how I feel about it.
Have you ever tried chopsticks, Mr. V?
I can't use them. Mate. No, I eat most things with a spoon. To be fair.
When you order Chinese, what's your favorite order? What's your go-to order?
Sweet and sour chicken and special fried rice, because they can't mess it up whatever restaurant you go to. Once I know them, then I'll start experimenting. But if I don't know them, that's what I go for. And then after that, you know, if they haven't messed that up, then you kind of experiment a little bit more in it.
Is the sweet and sour chicken the chicken balls?
No. The one in the sauce, the orange sauce with the pineapples and stuff in.
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't do the chicken. No, I don't do the chicken balls. It doesn't.
They give you a big
nuggets.
Sauce as well with that, then sweet and sour sauce.
No, it comes. It's all mixed in. It's all mixed in.
Okay. What do you order, Mr. Bath Time? What do you buy?
I like the beef and like spring onions and those sort of like more those dishes. But to be honest, like growing up in the countryside, takeaways aren't a natural part of my order.
Yeah.
Like not like you know like I know that everyone sort of thinks, oh, let's get a takeaway or something, but there was no one that would deliver when I was younger. So it's not something I really think. It's not something I really think about. But I do like Chinese food. I like the beef and the greens. Yeah. I think they work really well together. What do you get then, Yabba? Do you just get everything?
No, well, I don't eat pork or shrimps or anything like that. So I can't just do it online. I have to phone the place and say, so I like the Singapore fried noodles. They're really nice. They're quite spicy as well. Without, so it's usually with chicken and beef, without the pork and everything and the shrimps. And I don't know if you've had this, Mr. B, but they do duck in little wraps with bean shoots or something.
Oh yeah, duck bean sauce. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. I like that. Even though it's a handful, it's a bit like rolling a split.
I would know. I don't know. I have no idea.
But I think that's really nice. But it's a bit expensive. So a quarter duck is quite expensive. Get a half duck, but get the shreds of duck, wrap it in that pastry bit, add a bit of bean sauce and the shoots, whatever. Yeah, really nice.
Do you like get a takeaway every week? Like, do people get them on Fridays?
It tends to be traditional, doesn't it? To be like,
Sometimes I'll be honest. There's days when I might get a takeaway every day for the week, and then I'm cussing because I got a house full of shopping. But it's just lazy.
yeah,
It's lazy. It's not. Sometimes I don't order for ages, and other times you think, oh, I want that, or I'll take that, or I'll have that.
It's not like a treat.
Oh, not anymore. Not
Okay.
anymore.
I
Sometimes
sound
it's a
like such a
necessity.
yokel. Like absolutely fascinated by takeaways, but I just, it's genuinely.
you're such a country boy the way you're talking, but it is.
I know.
I mean, you know, it is bath time round in, especially we live in London. Like everywhere now is Uber. All these guys, they're even riding bicycles or electric bicycles. So the other day you can track your order, can't you? So when I have ordered recently, I track it and I see, I think it's a moped. It turns out to be a little bicycle. You can come in all the way down, you know. But I just think, like, I get annoyed sometimes because it is, like Mr. Bieber saying, there, it's a bit lazy because you order some food and they add the charge for the traveling and all that kind of thing and delivery. And by the time you get it, you spend like 30, 40 quid. And then you eat it and you think, I could have spent a week shopping.
Yeah.
If I had took the time to cook, I could have meals to last for the week. So it's not good value for money, but it's sometimes it makes you, when you come in from work, you sit down, you're tired, you think, should we get a takeaway? And the answer is usually
Yeah, Uber Eats. There you go. See, and all the other ones that do deliveries. Look, before we're rambling about food, let's say a couple of howdies. I am Titanium saying he hopes Coventry wins. I don't think it matters. Sheffield Wednesday or Sheffield United, the other team are going to beat them anyway. Andrew is saying something. That's good. That's going to be. Yeah, I'm going to assume that's hello in something Eastern. There we go. I have family from Coventry. Okay, fair enough. What difference does it make really if they win? I am Titanium. Win, lose, but they only take points off United next season if they come up. So, you know. Bart is saying something else. I know that means hello. Stephanie, how are you? I hope you're doing well. He's calling you Bartolo. Kieran, I remember the last day of the season when we played Sunderland and City won the league. Those fans were cheeky. I hope Coventry win. Fair enough. Oh, he's telling you not to talk wet. I have no idea what he was talking about, but we'll see. There you go. Stephanie is saying she'd rather use chopsticks.
rather play.
Andrew saying minced beef and fried rice and 2 poppadoms.
You say mine is not minced.
Mine. Oh, that's why I don't do the comments. So,
he minces his words, not his takeaways.
Simon, greetings, legends. It's the 13th today. Hasn't been unlucky. Lucky. It's only Friday the 13th, mate. It's not 13th of every month. Sticky ribs are amazing at the Chinese. Stephanie's saying I had a good choice of my choice. Kong Po beef is also nice. Let's have a look. Simon. Indian, German, or Italian?
German.
Simon. That's completely thrown me. Yeah, that's what do Germans like? What do you? I've never even seen a German restaurant.
I used to have a lot of German restaurants in South America, unsurprisingly, but it's basically just sort of like sexy versions of British food. It's essentially meat and potatoes.
Meat and potato.
Yeah,
they have a lot of sliced hams and sliced meats and pork and cheeses and things like that. So yeah.
There we go. See, yeah, Bart was asking the same thing there. What is your favorite German takeaway? Please, I need to know. I'm probably gonna have to Google what it is, to be fair. But yeah,
we might have to this summer, instead of doing transfers and things, just become takeaway review channel. Like, 'cause I don't know, but French food's not takeaway, is it? Is it?
No,
I don't think I've seen a French takeaway now.
French
You
takeaway.
can't get a takeaway lasagna, can you? Despite the fact it's probably
That's-
very suited
Yeah,
to
but it's
remain
not
in
French.
hot. Yeah, no, it's
Lasagna's not
Italian,
French.
but it's pizza, Mr. B, is one of the strangest foods to order for a takeaway because it gets cold so quickly. Whereas
Yeah.
a lasagna is like a brick, easy to transport, retains its heat. It doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know. That's weird. Tyrone, I hope you do well, man. I've never eaten Ligo. I've never eaten from a German restaurant. I said I've never seen one. So
You know, just to add, we talk about German food. There's a new, I don't know if you've seen a new chain of, it's called German Doner. It's like a kebab. And it's actually
yeah,
German
doner kebab.
German
Yeah,
doner
nice.
kebab, yeah. Have you
Yeah,
tried it?
nice. Oh, yeah,
I had a
lovely.
few. Yeah, I had a few, but I don't rate it. I don't think it's special.
Yeah, it doesn't feel you. How much are you ordering? Because
Yeah.
I said you.
You know, because my flatmate's German, and there's a lot of Turkish living in Germany as well, and they love kebabs, don't they? So maybe it's a fusion between the two. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, German doner's not bad, to be fair.
yeah.
Kebabs are an odd one because, like, apart from this country, they're like where they're basically a fast food after a club or something for most people. Like in a lot of countries, like a kebab is like sort of fine eating. I always think it's really weird how it
Really?
ended up here. Yeah, genuinely, yeah. But I'm not a huge fan of them myself. But I'm a huge fan of Black Forest Gatto.
There you go. Doner kebab started in Berlin by a Turkish guy. And Andrew's not a fan of kebabs. Anyway, look, we've been waffling about kebabs for 12 about food for 12 minutes, and we're actually supposed to be talking about Man United. Look, let's start with Amorim. I don't think it was a vote of confidence as such, you know, the dreaded vote of confidence, but it sounds like regardless of the result on next Wednesday, that he's here for next season. So yeah, as long as he's here and he gets backed, then I suppose I'm more than happy with that. I want him to stay, rightly or wrongly. I mean, I backed Ten Hag until obviously it was impossible to back him anymore. Obviously Yabba's still backing him now, to be fair, but I'm hoping that he does get the backing. Thoughts, guys? Was there anything else that could have been said? Do you think it's just spin again?
Well, I think it's good to announce that now that they're backing him, because obviously there's been murmurings from the fan base that, oh God, they're actually considering sacking him, even though he's only come in half the season, hasn't had a full pre-season or anything like that. I remember not so long ago on the Man United agenda, we were having a conversation about how long will we give Ten Hag, how many windows before he can really make an assessment. And I think Ten Hag had, maybe 2-3 windows, and then everyone had enough by that point. He had I think he had 3 or 4 windows actually to get everything right. And by that point, no one could say he hasn't had enough time. Even though he won 2 cups in that time, people were still disappointed because the expectation is up there. And until we lower the expectations, nothing's going to change regarding turnover of a manager. I like Amorim. I'm glad that they stick with him. I think it's a good decision to stick with him and just see it through and see what he can do. We're close to relegation. Clearly, we can't get much worse than we are right now. I expect to see improvements in the summer with his first transfer window, his first pre-season, and a bit more understanding once he, because he's come in, remember, halfway through the season. He's having players that he doesn't know, he's had to work with. Now he can actually say at the end of the season, phew, let me do my thing now. Let me start orchestrating things the way I want. And having the backing of the club is a good way forward. So I'm all for that. It's good news.
Yeah, I'm still, like, as I said, I'm a little bit sort of, I don't know, I'm a bit dodgy on Amorim at the moment because there's obviously circumstances outside of his control, but I also think that his points return is verging on a sackable. The only real argument that sways me is that he hasn't had a pre-season and he hasn't had the opportunity to get new players in. One one thing, there's two things that are sitting uneasy in my mind about this. The first is how INEOS accepted they made a mistake by keeping Ten Hag after he won the FA Cup. I think, can we all agree that's what the kind of narrative is? It seems to me that they would be extremely worried about history repeating itself here, because what they did after Ten Hag was confirmed in his job, winning that FA Cup, and thank you to him for that, was they spent almost 300 million or whatever it was. They spent a huge amount of money to back him, and now we're basically saying we're basically saying exactly the same thing, that he hasn't got his players in, the squad was too Ten Hag heavy, we've got to give him time to clear it and get new players in. But that seems to me to almost be repeating the same mistake that they know they've made. So I think that must be something that's percolating in that sort of collective consciousness of theirs. And the other one is, I spoke to Mr. B about this earlier, Yabba. Today, Amorim has done something like paid for 30 backroom staff to go to Bilbao with their families. Nice. Seems a very nice gesture. I think INEOS will be really pissed off with him for doing it.
Why did you say that?
Stop. 1 second, guys. I just need to know in the chat, do you think INEOS are going to be pissed off or they're going to be fine with it? Now, bath time? Away.
No, I don't think that's how it works, Mr. B. Because if I then give my reason to why I think they'll be pissed off, it might influence the initial reactions.
No, but if they change their mind, if you've swayed them,
okay,
then isn't that,
Well, it reminds me a little bit of Özil and Gunnosaurus, where Özil paid for Gunnosaurus or something. But essentially what it is it's breaking away from the chain of command, and you're doing something that is putting INEOS in a bad light. And I don't think that they will be best pleased with that, because it makes them look like greedy cheapskates, all these kind of things, whilst making Amorim look good. And I just think that from a company that should, from a sort of a structure that should all be in tune and holding hands and stepping at the same pace, I think they might think that he's stepped out of line a little bit here, and they don't like it.
I see where you're going with that, but they're still employees, aren't they? They haven't been sacked. It's not like going down the job centre and getting the guys that have been sacked and saying, here's some tickets. Here's people that are currently at the club. And he probably built a relationship with them, and it's good as well. And he's learned from the past. We've seen what Klopp did with Liverpool Football Club. We saw what Alex Ferguson did by getting to know all the staff and things. It's important for a manager to have that sort of association with everybody, from the tea lady all the way up to the boardroom, I think that's important. But I understand where you're coming from. I didn't consider that obviously, because they've sacked.
Yeah, it's more about INEOS, not.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
Gesture.
I hear that, but it's a nice gesture, and I'm all for it. And I think it's good for him, good of him, and nothing wrong with that. I mean, nothing wrong with that. They'd be skinning, they'd be delighted by that, won't they? But maybe they should have kept that news quiet. I don't know if it's been leaked. If I hope Ruben hasn't.
Who would have leaked it, Yabba?
Who?
If it's been leaked, which it has, it's not INEOS that's leaking that, is it?
Well, I hope it's not Ruben. That's what I'm saying. I hope he's not trying to do it to say, look at me, I'm such a charitable guy. Maybe, if it has been leaked, probably from the people he's
it'll be from a beneficiary or from the coaching staff or someone that side. And I think that further plays into how annoyed INEOS are by this, because I think that they probably understand the situation. It's not like they don't know that they've sacked loads of people, that instead of a party, they're getting a barbecue, all this kind of stuff. But the fact that it's out in public the day that they give a sort of a half-hearted vote of confidence towards Amorim, I think that they won't be pleased. And I still can't believe that they're not thinking about the mistake they made with Ten Hag after the cup final, putting all their eggs, all the financial power in that decision. I'm just, part of me wonders, and I'm not into this. Part of me wonders if this and all the transfer stories coming out is actually a bit of a PR spin after the result at the weekend, which was dreadful.
Well,
I mean,
look,
you know, I go in for this.
Rio's just said it's a different situation. Amorim is their guy, and Ten Hag was it. Does that change your thoughts on it at all?
Not really. I think Rio's made a good point there. I mean, it is a different situation, but I think the main difference is Amorim's come in like halfway through the season, and he's even though he's done poorly in league, the majority of fans are not sort of kicking him out already. They're saying give him a chance, give him a transfer window, give him a pre-season, and let's see how we do in the start of next year. We've got to do better than we have. We've got to start winning games. And the manager said it. I mean, I just always listen to the manager because he's quite refreshingly honest. And he's saying what we think and he's saying what we know. He's not trying to hide things or, as Mr. B would say, lie like some managers have in the past. He's being honest. I know you have to be a bit savvy with the press and journalism and all that kind of thing. But he's just quite brutally honest about it, saying this ain't good enough. We can't have this sort of culture where we think it's acceptable to be losing these sort of games and we need to turn it around. And I think, like Mourinho came and said, I'm the special one. He's got backing too. He's got that credentials. We say, well, I'm going to come and do it my way. And if given time, he hasn't had the time yet to deliver that. We've seen some sort of improvements, but give him the pre-season, give him all of next season to develop and get this squad going. Otherwise, we're just taking 2 steps back again if we decide we're going to fire him. That's what I'm saying. You always call me Mr. Positive, whatever, but I can't be Mr. Rushmano, who's there gifting us again 10 more memberships. Rushmano, let me say this: a lot of people come and go. Rushmano, I mean, we've been with us from day one. I just have to say, salute to you, bro. Thanks for always coming in and giving us tips and all that kind of thing, like memberships and money and all that kind of thing. It's really, really a nice touch, and we really do appreciate you. Thank you very much.
And please remember to say thank you to Rushmano if you've got a membership, because it's extremely generous.
Is this a PR stunt from Rushmano, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost. We've been losing, didn't we?
What Amorim does.
Every time we lose, he comes in and helps us out.
But there was one thing I wanted to pick you up on there, which is that you said that like Amorim is brutally honest.
Yeah.
I think he's selectively brutally honest. And then you said Jose came in and said, I'm the special one. The difference between them is that Jose's talking about himself there, that he didn't come out of a bottle, he's special. And when Amorim is being honest, it's normally nothing to do with him or his coaches. He's just talking about the players. And it feels like there is a little bit of a lack of accountability where he's not saying things like, Garnacho is a world-class talent and things, and I should be developing him better, or something like that. It's my issue with Amorim is that I'm getting the impression that he comes in and he's just got one way of doing something, and if it doesn't work, he's a bit stuck. And that kind of worries me a little bit. Is that an unfair characterization?
Well, he's got a formula of success. He has, as did Mourinho. That's why I referred to Mourinho. Mourinho done something spectacular. UEFA Cup with Porto, following season the Champions League with Porto. That's success. Punching above his weight. Sporting Lisbon, third best side in Portugal. He had a poor start. They were sort of down mid-table. Turned them around. Next season, they were champions and playing in the Champions League, and they were the top side. So he's got credentials there and a formula of success. Now, you can't say about being sort of one-dimensional. One-dimensional is success winning. It's winning. And if you've got a style of winning, and you haven't had time to implement it yet, I think this is what the whole point is. That I'm glad they're backing him, because give him time to implement his one blinkered view of success and let him implement that onto Man United Football Club and see what happens. One thing I will say though, BATHTIME, because this is why I love you guys, both of you, brilliant for sort of bumping heads. Because the question will be, does his system work in the Premiership? And that is a question I've been scratching my head with a long time now, because like you said about the centre backs coming forward, the build-up play, the 2 in midfield. Mr. B was talking yesterday about we always come up against 3 in midfield and we've got 2 or whatever. So that's the big question mark for me. Can he, and he's got to rack his brains around this, can his formula talking about being flexibility and everything else, if he's going to go blinkered with his formula going forward, can that win and dominate the Premiership and be more successful? Because at the moment, it hasn't.
Okay, Sporting did Man City earlier on, obviously when we were still there this season, and obviously we didn't, we've seen the players that we've got, but they went toe to toe with Man City and beat them. So if he gets it right, he does get it right. Man City, are still a Premier League team. So yeah, I mean, I think there is one game. But I think he shows that he is capable. And look, he's beaten Man City with our bunch of trash. So I think he is capable of finding a formula. It's just whether or not he's going to get back. How doesn't his contract run out at the end of next season? Am I wrong? Or is it the season after? It must be the season after.
Was it 2.5 years, his contract? So he'd have 2 years in the summer.
So he's got, okay. So this summer, they really need to, I say back him, but trying to get his first choice players. Obviously,
they need to commit.
Yeah, that's more. And he's been saying in his in his press conferences, that we need to be aggressive. They need to make the same words that you say in their bath time. They need to make the commitment. So maybe he's pushing them subtly. In the press, but obviously he's probably pushing them a little bit more, and maybe he's going to get the back. And obviously Cunha, I was worried when I heard Arsenal were sniffing around, and obviously his agent was going to be in talks with them. But I think that's what they do. They talk to one team, they talk to another team. It's not going to be exclusive. But what has come out from that is that he's basically told Arsenal to get stuff, and he wants to be a Man United player. It's also come out that there's going to be 5 million in add-ons, which means then that United don't have to pay the whole 62.5 up front. So I think that's a deal that's going to be done. I really think that's a deal that's going to be done. They say we're broke. This deal looks, I'm assuming this is going to be done January the 1st, June. As soon as the window opens in June, just to make sure that it can be done. But if that's the first signing, well, it's obviously second signing after Dorgu. But I think if that comes in, that is a statement signing. It's a position that we need in the club. 150% we need that position in the club. And as I said, if it means that somebody has to go bye-bye because it probably maybe puts their noise out of joint, then so be it. It's interesting that he said that he'll come regardless. I like that. I like the fact that
regardless of what?
Regardless of whether or not we're in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
That's I'm happy with that. And obviously we'll go on to Delap. His wording was slightly different in what he was saying. But what we're feeling about Cunha coming in, is this another smoke screen? Are we getting our hopes up?
No, I don't think so, because I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago we heard Fabrizio Romano say, "Here we go" is close. And he's, like Fabrizio Romano is a cautious man. He wouldn't. I don't think he'd be putting on his reputation on the line like that. I think that Cunha is. I don't know. It's very, very difficult to say that someone who scored 15 goals is a bad signing. He basically just sort of he's basically going to replace McTominay's output, which we've missed this year, which I think is fantastic. I just worry about his walking, to be perfectly honest, because from a number 10 that plays with Bruno, I think that we should be looking more for a kind of second striker and someone that does a lot of running about, gets ahead of the ball, runs channels, things like that. And Cunha he's athletic, he's strong, he's consistently scoring from the edge of the box. That's where the majority of his goals come from. Mm. I think that he's got everything there to be a really, really good player, like a good Premier League player, and I support the signing. I just worry a little bit about what that Wolves fan who came in told us about how lazy he was, and that was backed up by the walk-in stats. I can tell you now, what this team does not need is the greatest walker in the Premier League.
Oh, look, well, it's strange how these stats come out once. Yeah, guys, just hit the button, whether you're in for 2 minutes or not. Just hit that button. It's strange that these stats come out, negative stats come out when it seems that United are going to be confirming that he's on his way. That's what they're doing. It all of a sudden they're forgetting about how good he is on the ball. Our sight test when we're looking, we've seen enough football to know that he's a bloody good player. Yabba.
Yeah, just laughing at Stephanie Griffiths because she always comes some funny comments there. And yes, he probably is getting royalty payments for mentioning Max Scott. But let me say this: big up to Bath Time, because he's backed McTominay for a long time. When he was at the club, many fans were disgusted with him, didn't want him, called him Scott McFuckeries or whatever that was. And now he's gone to Napoli and proven to be a great player. He's got Player of the Month.
He's not a great player.
He's proven
in
to be
an
a
inferior league.
System. For their, they say I read an article today talk about Scott McTominay, because you compared him to Cunha. We're missing goals, and Cunha can provide those goals at McTominay's since he's left. But they said that he's not. It will come to me. So basically, saying it's the work he does off the ball, not on the ball, which makes him effective. He's a finisher rather than a creator. But it's not
box to box.
Yeah, no, but it's the wording they use. Italians have these expressions, or whatever. But they've really crowned him. Not as much as Maradona, but I'm telling you, he's a hero out there, and he's probably loving it life right now.
Do you think? Yeah, but do you think it recontextualizes? Like, we all get really excited. Like today, we've been linked with Edison from Atalanta, and I've watched quite a few Napoli games this season, and I have to tell you, McTominay has dominated basically every midfielder. It's like in terms of sort of like strength and power and being able to turn away and stuff. And I wonder. I don't know if Italy is the place to go to for midfielders if people like were not happy with McTominay, because it's Newcastle would eat up every midfield in Italy from what I've seen with Bruno Guimaraes and Joel Linton and things. And do you think that, like, I suppose this is actually more for you, Mr. Beeks, you didn't like McTominay, with his undoubted success in Italy, is it putting you off getting players from Italy, or have Xerxes, Rasmus done that already?
It's from when he can go there and dominate. And as I said, I saw him play. My opinion was that he was trash. He was a goal scorer, but he was trash. And the fact that he's gone over there and they're painting pictures on the walls, what do you call them? Memorials of him on the walls.
Murals.
That's the word. Then I hope we never buy an Italian player again. Honestly, I hope we never, ever just pull all the scouts away from Italy, because we don't need any of them. Any of them who played in that league, who are dominating in the league, don't pick them. Look at Kolo Muani. He's having a good time over there. Why? Because he come from the French league, who are physical, and he's causing a chaos. So no, I don't want anybody who's been linked to an Italian team at all.
But going back to Cunha, I think there are question marks about his attitude and all that. But this is a big move for him. He was at a big club like Atletico Madrid before. He's dropped down a bit, going to Wolves. He's had to prove himself in the Premiership. And this will be the move of his career, come to Man United. So he cannot afford to be lazy or to have these sort of walking stats, because it will be picked up on. As soon as you come to Man United, the spotlight is on you. So anything like that will be examined by the eye test in Bath Time, and by the majority of fan channels and people watching games. They will not put up with any kind of laziness. One thing you must do as a Man United player is put the effort in, because that's something most fans can see visibly. Yeah. We've seen someone like Martial, who never had that emotion about him. He never really took to him, because he was just like placid and passive, and never had that emotion, never had that grit and determination. And that sort of turned a lot of fans off, And I respect all fans, but one thing fans can do, like Paddy, is identify when someone's not putting a shift in.
Would you remember Xerxes and Stuart Marshall and the away crowd at Southampton?
Yeah, exactly that. That's exactly the point. Yeah, they pick up on things like that, don't they? So he can't afford to do that. And I think he will. For what I've seen in big games, like the Wolves fan who came on our show said, in big games he steps up. It's like showtime. Look at me. And when he's played against us, he's put a shift in and really put us to the sword. So he has to do that every game, especially with a big move like that coming to us. So we expect a lot from him, and we cannot afford, or he cannot afford, to have any kind of slackness.
I would just like to say that Martial was absolutely fantastic defensively for me. He's the only player that played in his position for Manchester United that was comparable to his ability to stop the ball getting played into a pivot was Danny Welbeck. And that's why Danny Welbeck started over Rooney against Real Madrid in that. Didn't Nani get sent off in that game for a high boot? Started crying. But like Martial, you all know how much I loved Martial. He was my favourite United player until Scott McTominay turned up. But I always felt he got a really, really, really harsh time, and anything, even half his quality would improve this team so much. I really miss. Thank you, Tyrone. Yeah, I miss Martial and his gloves. And do you remember what his son was called?
What was his son?
Duck.
Swan Martial.
I knew it was duck or swan or one of them bird things.
It's the one you're not allowed to eat, Mr. B.
I have no intention of eating swan. Thank you very much. Bloody cheeky.
I don't like them.
Little bit of duck swan. No, I don't like.
They're stuck up, aren't they?
Royal birds. They're protected, isn't it? So they're allowed to do until the people come in and chop their necks off. But we won't go into that. We'll save that for another day. Obviously, we just spoken about Cunha. Developments under the Delap one as well. Obviously, everybody knows the price is 30 million because it's which guaranteed relegation. They've been relegated, so that deal's in the offing. Obviously, he has been linked to Chelsea and Newcastle. I think for him, the best option would be coming to United because he's guaranteed to get to play every game because they're not going to be picking -9 over him. My only issue with that is that it sounds like he's waiting to see if we've qualified for Europe. Where Cunha will come, he wants to come to Man United to play for the badge to a certain extent. Maybe it's money as well. But the Delap situation, the fact that he's saying he feels maybe that, he's waiting. I'm not going to say I'm not going to be happy when he comes and starts scoring goals, but I'm wondering if that's the right mindset that the club should be looking at.
I don't know. I think it's fair. Look, he's a guy where he's going to be touted by a lot of clubs. He's getting relegated. He's the star of Ipswich Town. He's proved himself this season with 10 Premiership goals or double figures, wherever he's got. He's still got a couple of games to go as well. And he's young, and he's English as well. He fits the homegrown status thing as well. So I think he's an important player, and I think he has to weigh up his options and see what the best move for him is next. If he does come to Man United, obviously he's young. Would it be the A-team player? Would it be the reserve backup? Who knows? But it's a great opportunity for him if he does come. And I think we have to consider someone like him. We're talking about someone like Cunha, who's been in the Premier League for a few seasons now and got undoubted quality, and he's got double figures. And then you look at the list of people, top goal scorers in the Premier League this season, and when you weigh them up, you've got Mbeumo at Brentford, you've got Visa, then you've got all the big boys like Isaac and Haaland and Salah. And when you come down and you see players like Mbeumo, who we're interested in, and then you see a player at the bottom of the league like Ipswich, Rory Delap or Rory Delap's son, I think he's worth a shot. He's worth a shot, especially with 30 million. That's good value for money. And I don't see there should be any complaints about that, even if he is holding out because he's got other clubs interested. And these things can take time. So I don't think he should be slandered or anything about that because he's not. Oh, I've definitely come Man United. He and I don't think it's an issue about whether in Champions League or whatever. He's playing Premier League football. He's going to be a showcase club, and he got opportunity to be the main striker as well. So I think it's a good move for him. But if someone like Arsenal comes in, or someone who's doing better than us, who can offer, better football, a better team, he needs to consider that. No doubt about it. We're not in like 1990s where I sound like Matthew from Desmond's. It's ain't the 1990s. We're not in the 1990s where it's like a must that every good English player comes to Man United, apart from Shearer and Gaza.
Dallo, welcome, Mr. or Mrs. Dallo. Sorry, yeah, go on. Sorry, cutting you off.
But yeah, like we've got 33 odd people watching, which is quite a lot for us.
You see the Piers Morgan interview?
No.
What's he done?
How many followers you got? 33. Why say 33? Let's say 32. Let's say 32. Anyway.
All right. Okay. Thanks for that. If you are new, like say hello and things like this is like tonight we're doing more of a discussion show, so we're not really paying attention to the comments. But
I am. I'm putting them up, but I'm just not cutting
Yeah.
you off. So I'm showing them the level of respect, getting their comments up, but I'm also showing you guys a level of respect. Let me talk.
that's what we're about, respect. So like drop a like for respect. Right. What I've got a big issue with Delap, Yabba, and it's the same issue I had with Xerxes. He's never scored a headed goal in senior men's football.
Surely.
He hasn't.
I don't
I've checked.
Xerxes scored the header.
No, Xerxes scored 2 headers now. He scored 1 for Holland and 1 for us. But Delap has never scored a header in senior men's football.
Believe that. I've said that the whole point. My argument would be that he does score headers.
He hasn't.
Wow.
The thing is that like a lot. I follow a couple of sort of scouting accounts on Twitter and things, so that I don't actually have to go and watch them myself. And a lot of people really, really highly rate Delap. They really like the look of him, but you could say the same about Evan Ferguson. I wonder if this is the best use of our funds to spend. I don't deny it's a great deal, 30 million, but for a young player, you want him coming into a team that is performing well, and you can bleed them in and take them out and things. To spend 30 million on a player who's had 1 good season in the Premier League and make him the fulcrum, the main man in our attack, I'm not sure it's the greatest idea, and I would much prefer us in this interim period to go and get someone like Mateta, who might be a bit meat and potatoes, but I know what you're going to get from him, and I know that he will improve the team. Delap feels a little bit more like a gamble to me, but he's not going to be hard to sell, I suppose.
That's what I think it is. Bathtime.
Yeah.
I think you've summed it up. I think they're guaranteed in 2 years, if he doesn't cut the mustard, they'll get their 30 mil back, no problem. Whereas Mateta, as much as he'll probably hit the ground running, he probably will be more money. As Andrew just said here, he probably will be more money. But there's going to be no resale value on him. So
what you have to do, Mr. B, to make your money back or to break even, you have to be able to sell them for half of their transfer fee after 2 seasons. So I think in 2 seasons, you can get 20 million for Mateta, and that means you're okay to spend 40 on him. The thing with Delap is I think that in 2 seasons, you can sell him for 20 million, pretty much regardless of what he does, and that means you get a profit. So this feels to me more like an accountancy signing.
It probably is. Young British, 30 million. The set price deals are the ones that they seem to be working on. The biggest problem I have, obviously, everybody says we're broke. We're not broke, because they're going to be looking to spend 100 million on those 2 players alone.
Yeah, but that's on like financing and things.
I get it, I understand it's on the finances, but we've been worried about not being able, not having a pot to piss in.
Yeah, but our problem is cash flow, right?
Go on.
So we have something called the revolving credit facility. You heard that before?
Yeah.
The revolving credit facility is basically used to put money down on transfers. So, for example, with Cunha, I have absolutely no idea like how the deal is structured, but let's say it's 65 million. So we're going to pay like 17 million a season or something for him. The first 17 million, the initial one, will go on the revolving credit facility that we'll have to pay off. And the rest will be done by money coming into the club from other transfers and stuff. So you're kind of like balancing all the different income streams, as it were. So we don't actually have a lot of money to spend, but we have access to money that we can borrow to spend. And this is what has got us into such problems, because we absolutely rinsed that that credit facility for Ten Hag. And I just... Yeah, thank you, Jarvis. My man, I went on Jarvis's show the other day and I had a very good time. Like, thank you, Jarvis, for that. But it's, the thing is it's like, it's liquidity is the big thing for us, because last I checked, we had like 40 million liquid, and it's always a little bit dodgy what liquid is. It's not always just cash. It can be shares that can be cashed out easily and stuff. And I think finances are a massive concern, and maybe the right thing is to get Delap, develop him, sell him, get another player in, do the same, build our way back up the way Brentford and Brighton have. But it just feels a little bit wrong to me. I think we should be signing people for football reasons, not for accountancy.
Well, for football reasons, he's done well. Yeah, I've just seen you're right about the headed goals. He scored 8 with his right foot, 3 or 4 with his left. But he does seem like a complete forward, good at everything. I'd like to see one of his stats, the star.
A complete forward, and he hasn't scored a header.
Well, that's what Alan Shearer said. Alan Shearer described him as a complete forward, which means he can do a bit of everything. Left foot, right foot, hold up play, strong, not rapid, but quite decent. Gives defenders a bit of a strong.
I like the fact that he gives defenders a hard time. That's the part that I like. He shows defenders no respect. When he played Maguire, it's like he wanted to punch him up in his head. I like that. I like players to have that maybe that aggressive streak inside of them. I'm still not sure he's going to be the answer, but for 30 million, I just don't think it's a deal that can go wrong. I've got one. I
can't see how he doesn't improve us compared to Rasmus and Xerxes.
Oh, exactly.
I said my dead granny improves us. He's
get her in.
Yeah, well, I said she would, she'd do it for free. It's not. Yeah. Look, the quicker we get somebody in, maybe the quicker we get somebody out. I'm a player who was already out, and it just sounds like he's coming back, and maybe going back out again. Jadon Sancho. Obviously, Chelsea are sending him back. That's common knowledge now. We're moaning, they're going to pay us 5 million. I still don't understand how INEOS could have done a deal like that. But look, it is what it is. The interesting part to that is that Fenerbahce and Jose are now interested in him for 25 mil. Did he get on with Jose? Did he play under? Oh, he's never played under Jose. He was he was Ollie, wasn't he? I mean, is this something that could be done? Because he's going to be gone. My
thought to this, Mr. B, is it's absolute bollocks, except for one thing, right? Sancho is not a Jose player. He won't like that kind of player. He won't like his disciplinary record, all that kind of stuff. But the only reason I think that this might be true is if Jose is doing someone a favour in terms of an agent or a club, and we know that he's very connected to Chelsea and so on. I can't see any other reason why this would happen, because I mean, he's done all right in Europe. He got Dortmund to a Champions League Cup final, which is probably doing a bit better than all right in Europe. But is he the man that is going to go to Turkey, that absolute pressure cooker, and deliver you a title from the might of Galatasaray? I don't think so. I just, this seems crazy to me, to be honest, that Jose would consider it. So I'm going to put my conspiracy pants on. Thank you, Yabba, for lending them to me. I can fit all of my body in one leg, and I'm going to say that this has to be an agent-driven thing with Jose helping some people out.
I just want to say, for Sancho to end up in Turkey, that'd be a disappointment for him. I would have assumed he'd be playing in big leagues, for big clubs. You know, he's played for Dortmund, he's played for Man City, or he came from Man City, he played for Man United, he's been at Chelsea. I just think, you know, if he takes that jump now and drops all the way down to Fenerbahce in the Turkish league, he's going to get forgotten about. His agent should be looking for a move for a good club. And I was thinking, what Premiership club would take him?
Nobody.
That's good. That's the thing. What Premiership club now can afford him and could value him and can ignore his bad reputation? Because he has got a bad reputation. I can't think of a club right now.
Everton.
It doesn't meet his status. He's got a status where he's an England international. He's played for
ex-international.
Yeah, but to get back to that, he can. Can he?
No, he can't.
Can he save his career?
Yabba. You just said to get back, he can. Do you really think Jadon Sancho's got it in his mental makeup to be pushing to get back into the England squad? He when he left to go Chelsea, he said he's a Chelsea supporter. He's so happy with the move, blah. He had 5 games where everybody was, say again?
Freedom.
Yeah, exactly. Plus the Rashford freedom reply. You know, where's he gonna go? What level? He's gone to his boyhood club and stank the place out. He's had 10 assists, which is fine. It's more than he probably would have got for us. But it's still not enough for Chelsea. They would rather send him back for 5 million and maybe try and take Garnacho for the 60 million. Do you know what I mean? Where does he go?
Ross Barkley is what he has to follow. He has to go to a sort of Luton club and really be a sort of an experienced fulcrum and produce week in, week out, and then get a move back to a Champions League club like Aston Villa. Like, because Ross Barkley was a bit of a joke, wasn't he? Moved in a mega deal from Everton to Chelsea. He was extremely highly rated. It never worked out. I don't know what he did, and he suddenly turned up for Luton last year, and he was an absolute bugger to play against. And then he went to Villa, and I think he's performed decently for Villa as a squad player. And if Sancho wants to, you know, get back to the top level, I think that's the only way that he can do it.
Yeah, very disappointed to see a player so talented just destroy his career. But Villa would be Villa, Newcastle. If he can get into a club like that, then he can still.
He's not going to though, Yabba, is he? Because of his track record.
But I'll be interested to see what club he does go to, because I can't see him staying at Man United. I think like the fans are done with him. His reputation is soiled, and even I think it's with a mental thing, you can still turn it around. It's not like he's got one bad leg or anything like that. He's still a talented player, but the reputation is just completely destroyed. And for him to turn that around, he should go and see what's Jamie Lawrence and start his pre-season from today and start getting himself fit and hungry and ready to be ready for, to put a shift in for the new season for wherever he needs to go, because he needs to turn it around. This year has to be his year where he finally delivers at a proper club.
Oh, can I run a theory past you that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about? Is that all right? It comes from Tyrone has put up a comment here saying Dele Alli Mark II. Right? Dele Alli, I think we can all agree, was at the time genuinely a world-class player and one of the most talented players in European football, linked to Real Madrid. Ferguson said that he should be Jose's first signing. Like, you disagree with this, Yabba? That Dele Alli.
He was an exciting youngster, yeah.
He was managed by Pochettino, and after Pochettino left, his career went downhill. We can all agree on that, yeah. This season, Cole Palmer hasn't got anywhere near the level that he was producing last season under Pochettino. Is that a coincidence that two players burn really, really brightly under a manager and then have tailed off like dramatically since he left?
Sorry, you say Cole Palmer played under Pochettino?
Poch, yeah, at Chelsea.
Was Pochettino at Chelsea?
Yes. Then
Wow.
Maresca replaced him. Like when Cole Palmer was brilliant last season, that was under Poch.
Okay, I didn't know that. I can't remember Pochettino managing Chelsea. I wouldn't have known that. But yeah, still quality player though, Cole Palmer. You can see that every game he plays. But yeah, it is a good question you raised there. I think it is true that some players play well for certain managers if they feel they know how to push their buttons. And sometimes you play for a manager and you can't get no love. You know, you see, I mean, there's so many great football podcasts out when you hear pros and ex-pros talking about their careers and everything, and they give you a great insight into what it's like working with certain managers. And they say things like, "Couldn't get no love with him. Oh God, I can't stand that guy. He didn't fancy me." You know, that's
Did
what
you
happened.
need a lot of love?
As a player, I think, I would have liked to have had a bit more love from management and more have more confidence in me to make me feel like I'm a better player, you know, that sort of thing. But certain managers give that, certain managers don't. But I think it's true what you say. You raise a good point. It's true that some managers just know how to get a tune out of a player, and some just make them crash and burn.
I just asked because I think of players like Garnacho and Mainu, who when Amorim came in, that we kind of felt that one of his big remits was making sure Yoro, Mainu, and Garnacho like reached their potential or like took big leaps forward. And Yoro, he had a dodgy period like in January and so on, but recently we've genuinely seen him announcing himself as a really as a top player in my opinion. Like and I look at like Garnacho and I look at Mainu and I sort of think I'd love someone like Pochettino who's got a track record of taking players and really getting them to kick on. And I think that when we talk about like Amorim staying, I think a massive part of it is that we should be looking at Garnacho and Mainu and Yoro and using that as a bit of a yardstick, because that will help us work out if Delap is a good signing, if Dorgu is a good signing, because of what the manager's been able to do with you know, we know how good Mainu and Garnacho can be. Like, where has there, like, do people think that like Garnacho's gone backwards or hasn't improved, and the same for Mainu?
No, I don't think that. I think they're so young that I would judge them in the next 2 years to gauge their improvement. The find things we can't see now. Garnacho, like we said yesterday, buries his chances, scores the goals that, you know, and gets double figures. No one will be complaining about the other side of his game and not passing the ball or whatever they're complaining about. If Kobe was getting more game time, wasn't injured, we might be seeing him, you know, being a first teamer right now and influential part, you know, of the team. But when he comes on, you can still see the quality he's got. So I just think you've got to give these guys more time and understand that at a big football club like Man United, they need to have a bit more patience from the fans and the coaches to see the final product, which is probably 3 or 4 years away. Sorry.
But do you not think that we should have seen some kind of like, because with Garnacho, a lot, like, I don't think he's had a brilliant season, but I do kind of think he's been one of our best players because of how he takes the fight to other teams. And that's more a sort of a mental thing in terms of like technique and the things that can be improved by a coach. I haven't really seen like any of that improved, and it's the same. You know, I love Mainu, and he's like the player that I like the most. He's not doing well, and it's not like he looks lost. He's just not able to sort of influence games, and it's really sort of showing like the lack of physicality he has and things in this sort of system. And this is why I flop a bit on Amorim, because those two players have got everything it takes, like, to get to a really top level in European football. And I don't see how they're being improved and all this kind of stuff. And I'm worried about losing them. And I think that Delap is a good player, but I don't think he's got the ceiling that a Kobe has or a Garnacho has. And do you understand what I mean, Mr. B? I'm not trying to be negative. It's just I have these doubts inside me about what Amorim is doing. And like Andrew keeps bringing up the formation, and that's another issue of mine as well.
Yeah, it was your issue very earlier on. I think that's more what I'm beginning to worry about, the fact that I'm not sure the players we have are suited for the Prem. I mean, as I said, it's a summer thing, and I think if they get, obviously they must be working on the players or the characteristics of the players that they need to play in the Premier League. It hasn't been done in a long time yet, granted, but it has been done. So it's going to be interesting how it works out. Obviously, you were saying about giving players time to adapt and adjust. We wrote off Casemiro last season, and he's come back to a level that maybe we didn't think he could come back to. Obviously, with Ancelotti now becoming Brazil manager, it looks like he wants to call him up to the Brazil squad.
Yeah, but I think that's a mischaracterization of the point that we made, because pretty much any game in Europe, I have, and I think Yabba has as well, we've always said put Casemiro in. It's, he understands European football and things, and we've never said that he couldn't really do it in Europe. It's the Premier League where we've kind of written him off in. And I don't think that we were wrong, because you look at our league position and so on. I'm not sure that he has been performing brilliantly in the Premier League. Like, we like his character, and he obviously brings a lot of stuff to the table. But if you took Europe out of this season and you just went off the Premier League, you would absolutely be saying that Casemiro should be sold and so on, and that he's not the future. It's literally just the performances that we've had in Europe have recontextualized him. And I think, Yabba, that we always thought he could do it in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, Casemiro's, Mr. B makes a good point there about the possibility of him getting called up again for Brazil. Casemiro can still got something to offer. We look at a guy like Modric, who's 39, coming on 40, and he still can play at the top level as well. Something really interesting with Casemiro that I noticed the other day. One of the players, one of his teammates, I think it was Tony Cruz, said that he's the best trainer out there, Casemiro. And I'd laughed. I said, you wouldn't expect that, would you? But
No.
Obviously he's got something about him. He's the best trainer. It doesn't mean he's the best at the drills, whatever, but maybe he's a hard worker. You see him. I remember when he was on the bench around the time this November, December, we were thinking he can't play. We've got to sell him, get rid of him in the window. And I see him on the bench and expect to see an unhappy face, but he was delighted. He was running down the touchline, 4 goals. He just seems like a bundle of joy and great energy. And I think we talk about experience being in a squad, and I think that's what he offers. He offers experience, and in big games as well, occasional big games, he shows that. He steps up. We've seen him with vital goals in cup finals. We've seen him deliver in big games in Europe this season. But I don't just think he's a European player. I think he can play in the Premier League, but if we have the better team, the squad around him, then we could do something. It's just unfortunate for him at his age. He can't. I just think, and playing in the Prem, you can't expect him to deliver week in, week out, unless he's got a better team around him. You know, this guy is like when you look at Real Madrid, the midfield he used to play in.
I could play in that midfield.
Exactly, that's my point. So coming to Man United, when you have to do more, it's like a rude awakening, and he's had to realise, this is different. I have to step up, have to sort of deliver more, and it's been a hard chore for him. But I love the guy. I think the more I hear about him, the more I'm thinking he's good influence to have around the club. I know he's on a lot of wage and everything else, but a lot of people are not really so much disappointed with him as they were a few months ago, and that's because of his performances and what he's done.
I think he's been, for me, Yabba, I think if we win the cup like next week, I think despite the fact it was a very expensive signing, it's not a coincidence that we've got in 4 finals since Casemiro came. And I think that, like, I think it's been fine. My issue with, like, this thing about, like, Casemiro's back in the Brazil squad is I don't think it really matters, because Ancelotti surely knows Casemiro quite well. And he wants, like, a lieutenant in, you know, he wants one of his guys in the squad with him. And it's a complete no-brainer for me. I think that he'd have been called up regardless, as almost like, you know, a kind of bridge between them. But there's an argument going on about athletes in football, Yabba. Like, for me, you don't have to be athletic to play in a 3-man midfield. Like, Paul Scholes was not an athlete by any stretch of the imagination. But if you're playing in a 2-man midfield, I think that you've got to be able to get up and down, compete physically on the floor, in the air, and it's just not playing towards. In a
2-man midfield, you have to be a complete midfielder. Both midfielders need to be complete. They don't have to be 10 out of 10 out of everything, but they need to be 8, 7s or 8s. So that's endurance. That's their passing ability. That's their aggression. All of those things are the characteristics for a 2-man midfield. You see, like in a 3-man midfield, you could have an Agate, a Mainu, and Bruno, and it could work. Yeah. But as 2 central midfielders, you need to be able to get up and down the pitch. And then obviously it's the intelligence of knowing when to go forward or when to go sideways. So that's more, and I don't think the players nowadays, they've all been trained or coached to play in 3-man midfields.
Yeah,
that's the issue. That's the issue that I think a big issue.
That's why we don't have the eye test anymore, because I was coached in a 3-man midfield, and I don't understand what the I don't really understand what the 2 are meant to be doing. A lot. I'm getting there. That's mainly because I've been watching Crystal Palace secretly. But the thing is, though, Mr. B, is I don't want, this is genuinely not to annoy you, but McFred were called McFred because when you put them together, you had everything you needed in your midfield. You had the energy and the zippy about of Fred, and you had the kind of height and power of McTominay. Like, if those 2, or let's say that they were called like McFridge or something, if those 2 were in our midfield, would they be able to cope just being in a 2? Because they seemed to do all right when Bruno was basically playing second striker. Like, do they genuinely have to be like an Ince and a Keane of that level to play together, or can you kind of cover your bases a bit between the 2 players?
Well, that would be the Agate conundrum.
Yeah, because he's Fred.
Yeah, and he'll be Fred. So no, I would rather have a Paul Ince and a Roy Keane.
No, but that's not the question, is it? Because who else is going to? Of course, you want a Paul Ince
no, but what I'm saying is, when I say that, what I mean is I don't know who in the Premier is a box-to-box midfielder.
Well, probably Slobosai or Gakpo. Chelsea.
Can I just say, Chelsea? I'm just looking now. Chelsea played 2 midfielders.
Yeah, but who? Yeah,
look at the midfielders they have.
Yeah, Lavia, bloody
Lavia and Caicedo, and Enzo plays the box-to-box.
They're very strong guys, aren't they? So they play 2 quite successfully.
Yeah, but they have Enzo in there, like, as the 3rd, and he's the box-to-box. Like, because Gallagher was a perfect.
Right, so I'm confused. So they play Enzo and Caicedo, yeah? If they play Enzo,
definitely play 2. I'm looking at them. I've been looking at the last few matches here. It's always 2 in midfield, and then
but you say 2, but they play 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, right?
4-2-3-1. There's two midfielders. It's Lavia, Casado, or Fernandez.
Well, they're playing a 3-man midfield then, Yabba.
No, it's two. I've been
No,
looking
it's
at
not. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but if Enzo is their number 10, Enzo's not staying forward. And that's why I say it goes to a 3. United actually play with 2 central midfielders.
Yeah.
That's how the team is set up. Chelsea can cover and adapt and drop her in to not be overloaded. But United actually play with 2 central midfielders.
I think Chelsea.
So the difference is, Yabba, right?
Chelsea actually playing with 2 midfielders.
All right, yeah, but this is the difference, right? Chelsea, when they are defending, like Enzo is part of that 3. When United are playing, our 2 10s, their job is to stop the ball going centrally into the midfield. Enzo isn't really doing that. He's doing something similar, but he's doing it as part of the 3, where it's a sort of like more of a zonal thing. And that's the big difference between us and other teams, is that we're trying to use those 10s to shut off passing lanes and so on and direct the ball out wide. Whereas other teams are sort of like more in a block and are able to jump a little bit more. And the 4-2-1 is the best formation for transitions as well.
So with the 2, basically the 2-man midfield, just look and see who's been successful with it. And I think Chelsea is because of the personnel. Caicedo. This guy is a beast. He could be a 1-man. It's joking, silly, but he could be a 1-man midfield because he can tackle, he can block, he's physical, he's combative. He's a good guy to have in that sort of position. And the same with Arsenal. I mean, they have
Rice, Odegaard, Mourinho,
and Partey as well. But I think the personnel. I think because our complaints were with Ugarte and Casemiro. Who do we start with? Like we talk about the final coming up next week. Who are we starting with? Because they Tottenham play 2 strong guys. They usually have
that blonde boy, don't they?
Uruguayan guy and
Bergvall.
Yeah, Bergvall. Yeah, they kind of have 2,
Bentancur,
and then someone ahead of them as well. So
Maddison.
It's interesting, that isn't it? I think it's more to the personnel to say whether 2's not good. You can't play 2. You've always got to play 3. If you've got 2 good guys in there, like Chelsea do, Lavia and Caicedo, whatever, those 2 are beasts. They can handle the business. It's just that we have Casemiro who's gets caught out a lot of times, and is not at the races physically as he used to be. And then we got someone like Ugarte, who everyone seems to criticise as well. And prior to that, we could have Bruno in there as well. That needs to be looked after if he decides to bomb forward or come out, break his block.
That's kind of the point, isn't it, Yabba, that we were talking about, where like with Garnacho and Mainu and stuff like that, like this system doesn't really suit them. And like, I mean, who does it actually suit? Maybe Delo, maybe Dorgu, and they're not exactly ripping up trees. And that's kind of the point, which is if you have Caicedo, I personally think it's a little overrated. There's a lot of the Ugarte in terms of tackling from the blind side, and you have Lavia, like when he's available and stuff, great. But I'd much prefer Partey, Rice, and Odegaard, because I think it gives you a lot more, regardless of the quality of the player. Like playing in a 2 versus a 3 sounds like a living nightmare to me. Like you can't even really. All you have to do is sit there, but you can't really affect the play and so on and stuff. And I just don't think it's good for the makeup of our squad.
So what happens, because you've got 2 guys ahead of you? It's a box midfield, isn't it? That we used to talk about. And, so what are the 2 ahead of you supposed to be doing when we haven't got possession of the ball? Are they supposed to be filling in and helping out in some way? They're supposed to know where they're supposed to position these.
I think it's to stop it going inside. Like it's one of, I think from what I've seen, and I'm not completely sure on this, one goes out to sort of double up to stop the pass inside, and the other one sort of tucks in to be able to spring if they send it backwards and do it on the other side. So the idea is that you sort of like, you have people like, you have like no real way for them to get out because you're blocking the ball getting into the center of the pitch. But with the three-man midfield, you can be much more aggressive in your pressing and sort of trying to nick the ball and stuff like that. I think it allows for more front-footed football. And if you look at the best pressing team we've seen in the league, I think we'd agree was Liverpool under Klopp.
Okay.
Three-man midfield.
Yeah.
Like the best, what's it called?
Paris.
Three-man midfield. Paris, three-man. It's. But having said that, Leverkusen, Inter, maybe Real Madrid are moving to three-back formations. So I just don't know anymore, Yabba. But I know that our squad isn't suited to 3-5-2
at the moment. Yeah. 22 likes. Thank you guys for the thumbs up and the pressing the like button. As the banner says at the bottom, hit those likes, ladies and gents. And yeah, we are on all this week. We're building up to the cup final next week. I don't know how we're going to. Where are we watching it? Are we watching it in a pub? It's massive. I mean, where are we going to be sitting down watching this game?
I'm supposed to be watching it at my clubhouse, to be fair, but
nice.
We're all going round to yours, Yabba.
Yeah. I'm covering my red socks and
Chinese. Bring our own chopsticks.
Good one. Yeah,
I'm really Wolverine.
I'm looking forward to this, man. I really can't wait. It's going to be one of those special nights. What I just don't like, though, is why is it that the Europa League is on before the Conference League? I think the Conference League's the following week, and then the following week after that is maybe the Champions League, or on a Saturday or something.
Why is it on a Wednesday? Is the thing that pisses me off the most.
It used to be.
I'd love to be able. I took too many personal days last week, having to sort out my bloody cousin. And so I'd love to be able to take a personal day on Thursday and get absolutely hammered on Wednesday night, but got to go into work the next day. And to be honest, we had a bank holiday after the Lyon match, didn't we? And it was bank holiday Friday. And Mr. B, you were rewatching the game at 3 o'clock in the morning because you couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
And what are we going to be like if we get a game like that? I mean, British industry will grind to a halt.
I said I haven't booked the day off work, so whatever state I'm in, it's gonna have to be drinkless. I will stop drinking at 10. That'll give me 7 hours. I mean, if I'm up, then and I'm up until 5, then fine, I'll go straight into work. But the drinking, I can't do the drinking. I'll have to save the drinking for the weekend because I'm not taking the day off.
Did you run out on the street last time, Mr. B?
I've been known to I have been known to so I don't care, innit? I don't care. My neighbours know I support Man United by now. The way that I shout down the house when we score, and they know it's Man United. So no, it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. Guys, we've been ruffling for 1 hour 20. We've had a couple of we've had one I Spy that we've deleted. Thanks for that, Andrew. I actually thought it was somebody else that we were talking about, so I appreciate it. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow for a preview of the Chelsea game. Are we?
What?
I'll be back tomorrow for a preview of the Chelsea game.
Right.
I thought we did that on Thursday.
What day is it?
It's Wednesday.
What day is it tomorrow? Oh shit! Yeah. All right. So it's
Stuart Marshall's coming on Thursday.
Oh, lovely.
Should we just do nothing till Thursday?
No, we'll do something tomorrow.
All right.
I don't know. Look, guys, you can tell our brains have all shut down now when everybody's gone silent all at once. Look, we will be back. We will be back tomorrow. If we're not back tomorrow, then we can blame BT. Thanks for the mods. Thanks for the mods.
Yeah. I've just before we go, I've just got a message, and that was Tyrone in chat. Whichever genius has banned him. So if you could unban him, I'd be eternally grateful.
Ban who?
Tyrone.
If you could unban someone has like banned Tyrone, and it was the real Tyrone.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Honestly,
everybody's paranoid about this fucking dick. Sorry, cussing. Everybody's paranoid about this bloody idiot. Oh boy, look.
it was you apparently, Mr. Bean, that banned him.
Was it you?
I thought I did. Oh shit. Oh, bruv, Tyrone, brother. Apologies, man.
So do we have to unblock him now before otherwise he's banned from the channel?
No. He'll be back because it's only for like one arm. Here we go.
This is the level of expertise that we have on this.
Look, there we go. He's back. He's back. I unhid him. Oh, I'm hopeless, man. I can't do all of this stuff. But yeah, he's back anyway. He should be back.
Yeah,
guys.
I think he's a little bit upset.
There you go.
There he is.
Look. I'm gonna hold up my hands, right? This techie stuff takes me a long time to work out. Apologies. I'm just not gonna bother trying to do anything. I'm sorry. Guys, look, it's like a notch, man. It's a lack of notch. It's a lack of notch for me.
It's a lack of notch from me.
Lack of notch, guys.